how many questions on the test there will be. There is one question about standard form, and we'll talk about when it what it looks like as we go through our notes today when we get there. And we have word problems. Beautiful. What? What is standard form? AX plus BY equals C. AX plus BY equals C. We haven't done it yet. It's new to us. So that's why there's one itty-bitty question on the test that deals with standard form. Okay, so we opened it up. We said it's one problem over here. It's another problem over here. They're two big problems. We're starting on problem 1. We numbered it as 1. This is where we started. We had the table. You can keep that one. All right, so we started with our table XY. We had 4, 5, 8, 8, 2017. And then we used that table. We picked 2 points to find our slope, 4, 5, and 8, 8. So we did 8 minus 5 is 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. So we have points and we have slope. We could go on the graph at this time and do 4 or 5, but we can't really do any other points. So what would be our next step? Should we go graph, slope, intercept form, point, slope? Why point, slope form? Do we have points to choose from? Our table has points. Do we have the slope? Yep, we got that 3/4. So I'm going to put 3 in that circle telling us that's our next step, step number 3. Point slope form. So I'm going to have my point and my slope. So let's just keep using that point that we've been using, that 4, 5. What's up, Abdul? Because remember, for our slope formula, that's a great question. Slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we picked 2 points from our table. We did 4, 5, and 8, 8. So we label it goes xy, xy, and then our 1s and our 2s. So we did y2, 8 minus y1, and then x2 minus x1. Yeah, any points. It just would simplify different. If you're going to end up with the same answer, you might have to simplify. So my period 3, they picked 4, 5 in 2017, and they got 6 over 8, and then they had to simplify it to 3 over 4.
Are we finishing it?
Yeah, we're finishing this today. That is our goal. All right. How are we doing? Hanging in there? Okay, so point slope form. Let's pick one of the points from our table. Can we just do 4, 5? Is that okay? Okay, I'm using yellow for our points. So if you wanted to use yellow or whatever color you used in the front. I'm going to color this in 4, 5 here because that's where we got that point from. All right, what is our slope? 3/4. If you want to color that orange, you can. So we're doing orange for slope, or whatever color you picked for slope on the front. Those should be matching. All right, and then as we work, we have our slope-intercept form, point-slope form. Now that we have that information, if you want to write out that form underneath, we could just really small, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm just writing that there just to remind me what it should look like. I'm going to write bigger in the middle here what my actual answer is. So y minus What's the y from my point? 5, because it goes x, y. So y minus 5 equals, what's my m? 3 over 4, parenthesis. We keep this first x, so x minus, what's my x from the point? 4.
Shoot, I don't think I have this.
It's in your notes. We tucked it in your notebook. You were just laughing and giggling and having the greatest day ever. Why are you sleeping now? Well, how can you have so much fun in school and then just be tired? Do you need this sheet? Alright, so that's our point slope form. So next up we need to decide what's our next step. On the inside.
I got a question.
Yeah.
How many graphs
Graph a point. X, Y.
That's why I actually read it wrong. You know, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, gotcha.
On that last question you said, I
Yeah.
didn't know how to do it.
I'll help you with that at the end. We have one of these. Okay. We're working on it today. Alright, so now that I have one equation, it's pretty easy to move in between equations, because do we know how to solve equations? No? We don't know how to solve an equation? That's not true. We know how to solve an equation. We're really good at it. So we're going to go on over to slope-intercept form. Hi. Do you have class? Now we're on the notes from Friday. Alright, so when we go to slope-intercept form, this is going to be step number 4. I'm going to slide over. Slope-intercept form looks like what? Good. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to start by writing out my point slope form equation at the top. Y minus 5 equals 3/4 times x minus 4. Our goal is to take this equation that we just got from point slope form, we just moved it over, and we're going to solve it for y, to get a y equals equation. So in order to get y by itself, what would I need to undo? Good, we'd have to get rid of that minus 5, so we could plus 5. Before I can touch that 5, though, there's something over on the right side I need to get rid of. Parentheses. How am I going to undo parentheses? Good, distribute. Pew! Pew! Yeah, this was last chapter. Yay, how exciting. All right, what's 3/4 times x? Well, what number can I put in front of the x? A 1, so 3/4 times 1 is just 3/4. So 3/4 x. I'm looking for my handy dandy calculator.
Does that say y equals 5? What?
Y minus 5. Which part? This part? Y minus 5, and then I just changed my y to a curve. I don't know why. I did. Where'd my phone go? Well, I can say it. You think so? Oh, it's like literally under my computer. Alright, so now when I do 3/4 times 4, I can just use my handy dandy calculator to do that for me. So 3/4 times, is it 4 or negative 4? Either one. But you can do, I would do -4 personally, because I see that -4. And that 4 on the bottom really tells us we're dividing by 4. So if I multiply by 4, it undoes the division, and we end up with just -3, so -3. And now, like Abdul said earlier, how are we going to get y by itself? Good, we have to undo that -5 by doing +5. Where on the right side would I add 5? Good, with that -3.
Why is that a -3?
Because it was a -4, so a positive times a negative is a negative. All right, so now we get the 5s are gone. We're left with y equals 3/4 x. Nothing's changing with that. And then we need -3 plus 5. Positive, yep, so +2. Is my slope the same that it's been? Is the m the same? Yeah, we said at the beginning m should be 3/4, and m has not changed. It's still 3/4. I forgot to color it over here, so if you want to color it, you can. Okay, we found 3/4 up here. M is still 3/4. Slope shouldn't change. Stop that. All right, what's my b? What's my y-intercept going to be? 2. Good.
So that's how you solve it?
Yep,
Just like how we did last chapter?
just like last chapter. All right, so now we have slope-intercept form. Really, from here, we could go into any direction. We could go to the graph, we could do the word problem, we could do standard form. It doesn't matter which order at this point we go from. Everything is going to come from the slope-intercept form. We're going to go from this one to this, this to this, this to this. So which one do you guys want to do next?
Right.
Okay, so go to the graph. If those arrows help you, you can put those arrows in. If it doesn't, then you can just put number 5. On my graph, when I plot this equation, I'm going to start at my y-intercept, which is at 2. Where does a y-intercept go on a graph? Y-axis. So on my graph, I'm going to go with 2 on my y-axis. So from the origin, we go up 2. Yep, at 2. Right on the y-axis. And my slope is 3/4. So we're going to go up 3, rise 3, and run 4. Okay, if you want to do that in orange to show that rise and run, you could, if that helps you. That it went up 3/4. We could also go the opposite direction, so I could go down 3. But which way would I run for? -4. And then we're going to make sure that we draw that line through those points. Something I noticed on our practice last week is some of us are just drawing the points. If you don't think you can draw a nice line, just switch colors. That way I can see your points in one color. And then if your line's not exactly right, I'll still be able to see the line. So always make sure you draw the line when we're graphing. We're not just plotting points. We're drawing the whole relationship. I think you went on the wrong graph there. That's okay. At least you did it right. All right, and even if you wanted to, do I have that 0.45 on my graph? Right, 4, up 5? Yeah, that ended up on my graph. So if you want to color that yellow, you could even do that. That's the point that we used. So it's all connected. It's all the same thing. Okay. If you were plotting from point slope form, I had a question about that in just a little bit earlier. If I plotted 4, 5, I'd go right 4, up 5 for my point. Now from that point, we would do our slope of 3/4. So we'd rise 3, go over 4, or go down 3, left 4. So you would have started at this point and then done your slope. But we would have had to do it backwards. I can come look at it in a little bit. All right, next up we have our word problem and standard form. Which one do you guys want to do next? Standard form? Okay. Standard form, we're going to not go from our graph. We're actually going to grab our slope-intercept form and go to standard form. So we're going to pop over there. And this will be number 6. That was a weird looking 6. All right, standard form looks like AX plus BY equals C. So I'm going to start with my slope-intercept form. I'm going to write that out. Y equals 3/4 x plus 2. I'm going to zoom in on that. Okay, so our goal is we need A and X to be on the same side. So are X and Y on the same side? No, there's other rules we have to follow, but our first thing we need is we need our X to be on the other side with the Y. So I need to undo this adding 3/4 X. So how do we undo adding 3/4 X? Subtract. So we're going to do minus 3/4 X. And if we do it on one side, we do it on the other side. Oh, I did that really crooked. Oh well. Can I combine an X and a Y together? Nope. So I'm going to leave that as negative 3/4X plus Y, since it was a positive Y, I'll keep it with a plus, equals, and then we have just 2. The X's are gone. So now we have X and Y on the same side. We're getting pretty close to the right answer. Our next goal would be we need to follow our rules. So I'm going to flip this back to remind ourselves of the rules. One rule is that A has to be a positive whole number. Is that first number with X a positive whole number? No. Is it because it's not? Is it positive? Nope. Is it a whole number? Nope. But what about B and C? Are B and C positive or negative whole numbers? Yeah. So B and C are fine, but we need to fix A. A is our big problem here. So in order to get this to be a whole number, we need to undo the fraction. And the fraction says we're dividing by what? We're dividing by 4. So how would I undo dividing by 4? Multiply by 4. And if I multiply by 4, that would get rid of the division. What can I multiply to make it a positive number? A negative times a what is a positive? A negative times a negative. So I'm actually going to multiply by negative 4. That's going to make it a positive number. But if I multiply one thing, I have to multiply all things, the whole thing. Because it was the denominator. It's what we were dividing by. It's a good question.
So you multiply by 4?
Yep. To get rid of the fraction, because we need a whole number. And then we multiplied it by a negative to make it into a positive. Because those are the rules of standard form. It has to know fractions, has to be a positive whole number. This is the part that's a little goofy. So if you need to make yourself a little note of what to do, we multiply by the denominator. If you don't know that word denominator, you might say multiply by the bottom. I'm going to write multiply by denominator. But I ran out of space, so perfect. Okay. All right, so in my calculator, I'm going to do negative 3/4 times 4. And what that times negative 4, and all that it should do is get rid of that dividing. I should be left with the numerator. So I'm left with 3. Why is it a positive 3? Yeah, negative times a negative is a positive. So it just gets rid of that dividing, so 3x. Now what's y times negative 4? Negative 4y. So we could say plus negative 4y, or we could write it as minus 4y, either way. And then 2 times negative 4? Negative 8. It's okay if my b and c, the other numbers, are negative. What's not okay is the first number can't be negative. So 3 is good. It's positive. We're good to go. All right, how are we doing? Hanging in there? Okay, last one for this one is number 7, our word problem. For this word problem, let's start at our slope-intercept form. It just kind of helps you if you want to organize like where we started and then where we went. You didn't have to, but it might help you organize your thoughts. All right, first, our word problem. I'm going to go from slope-intercept form. B, my y-intercept, is a starting amount. So we need to start with 2 of something. So you have, or what are we going to have for what? Sorry, it depends on what we're having. 2 what? 2 apples, 2 shoes, 2 dolphins, 2 hours. You have 2 brains? Grains? Grains. Like oats? Sure. I'm going to go 2 oranges. That feels a little, because grains just feels like, what the heck? A little bit. Grains are just kind of a weird, I don't know. My last class chose dolphins, so I guess we could do grains. I'm going to go with oranges. Just feels better. Okay, so you start the day by eating 2 oranges. Okay, you write that.
Oranges?
I'm going oranges. Start the day by eating 2 oranges. You're real hungry. Now, is the amount of oranges we're eating going to increase or decrease as we go throughout the day? What does our line look like? Increase. How much is it increasing by? What is our slope? How does it change? It changes by 3/4. So there's 2 ways we can do this. Either we could say we're eating like 3/4 of an orange every hour or every day. Ooh, we should have said start the week. Can we change that day to week? That makes more sense. You don't have to. I'm going to. It's going to make more sense in the long run because that's a lot of oranges for one day. So we eat 2 oranges at the beginning of the week. And then every 3 days, or, nope, that's not right. You then eat, I can't think. My brain's going to restart. Okay. You eat 3 more oranges. Every 4 days. That to me makes more sense because are you going to eat 3 oranges every 4 hours? Unless you're like really getting that vitamin C intake, which is crazy. Makes more sense to me that you would eat 3 oranges over 4 days. So 3, 4, because it's 3 oranges every 4 days. That represents my slope. I'm doing 3 things every 4 amounts. And we're starting with 2. Now, my period 3 class, they said a zoo has 2 dolphins, and then they increased it as 3 dolphins every 4 years. They got a dolphin. So it would be like kind of crazy if you got 3 dolphins every day, or 3 dolphins every 4 days. And they said, especially with the dolphin, could they get 3/4 of a dolphin every day? No, they'd have to like chop off the tail and then send you a tailless dolphin. That'd be weird. Okay, with this one with oranges, can you eat 3/4 of an orange every day? Yeah. So we could have written that instead of breaking up the 3 and the 4ths, you could have said you eat 3/4 of an orange every day. That would have worked too. Okay. All right, how we doing? Hungry? I'm hungry today. Yeah, me too. I need to drink some water. All right, we're going to go to our next problem. All right, this time we're going to start with the word problem. We're going to start at the bottom and kind of work our way up. Okay, so first one is word problem. So if you want to put a 1 there, that tells you where we're starting. All right, for our word problem, we're going to say you have $16.
Do we have an assignment at all? Like a word check?
There's a quick check, but I don't know. Depends on where we're at and what time it is. You have $16. Pop costs. Yep, we're starting with word problem. Pop costs $4 per bottle. And this one I'm giving to you. We're not making this up. So, Miss Morrell made it up. That says bottle. Pop costs $4 a bottle, and chips cost $2 per bag.
What kind of a
Why is chips $2, $4?
Pop is $4 because you have to pay for the bottle. Chips are $2. They're small. It's a small bag of chips, like a small thing. Yeah,
The big ones are like $5.
not the big ones. Like a you're gonna grab it and eat it on your way somewhere. Like a small bag chips. Okay, maybe you're getting Celsius. Celsius is expensive. Pop soda. Yeah, for a bottle, it's like $3.50.
I get it for 2.
You're insane. Okay.
What kind of economy are you living in?
Apparently in my own world that no one else lives in. Okay. All right. We're just going with it, guys. Going with it. All right. So, based on this information, you have $16. Pop costs $4 per bottle. Chips cost $2 per bag. We're trying to figure out combinations. How much pop and how much chips can I buy? Do I only have to buy pop? No. Do I only have to buy chips? Could I just buy chips? Yeah. Okay, but we're going back and forth kind of in the combinations of them. So I'm thinking I have a total of $16. So if I go back to my equations here, which equation would give me kind of like a total, an overall amount? Yeah, standard form, because it equals an amount. It equals C. So we're actually going to start with standard form, 2. All right, for standard form, we need to decide what x equals and what y equals in our word problem. Okay, nice. All right, what do we want x to equal? No, what thing that we're buying? We want x to be pops or chips? Pop, our super expensive pop. Super fancy gourmet pop that costs $4 per bottle. That's what I said, and other people are like, that's crazy. All right, why is chips? I don't know. I think when I buy pop, it's always like way more expensive than I think it should be. Quick Trip. I don't know.
Quick Trip sells it for like $2.50.
Okay. Anyways, going back to this.
Giant jugs.
I'm going to find it on my phone, and you guys are all going to be embarrassed. Just kidding, I am. All right, we know the total is how much? How much are we spending? $16. So it's going to equal 16. So for my pop, how much is it per pop? 4. So it's going to start with 4x plus how many chips? For chips, it's 2y. It's fine. It just happens some days. All right, so 4x plus 2y equals 16. All right, can I go to my graph from that? Do I know my slope? Do I know a point? No, remember standard form is kind of goofy. It's really nice for situations like this, which these are more or less like your real life situations are easy to translate to standard form. But standard form is hard to put on a graph because we don't have any points. We don't have a slope. So our next step is going to go to slope-intercept form. Once we have slope-intercept form, it's pretty easy to go to the other places. All right, slope-intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b. And those of you that are like, is this going to be on the test? This is the part that's going to be on the test. I'm going to give you an equation in standard form, and I'm going to ask you what's the equation in slope-intercept form, which you already know how to do. This is from last chapter. You just didn't know we were doing it yet. So I'm going to copy this down to start off with. 4x plus 2y. Oh my gosh. Wednesday. I have to finish it the next week. All right, 4x plus 2y equals 16. Our goal is to get a y equals. We just have to get y by itself. We did this last chapter. So to get y by itself, do we first undo the 2 or undo the 4x? The 4x, because 2 is the best friend of the y. So we're going to undo adding 4x. How would I undo adding 4x? Minus 4x. If we do it from one side, both sides. But here's the thing. Last chapter I noticed this was a mistake that a lot of people made. We brought down that 2y, which was good. Can I do 16 minus 4x? No. So that was a mistake I saw. Some people wanted to do 12x and call it done. These are not like terms. For the sake of our slope-intercept form, I want x to come first. I want mx. So I'm going to put this negative 4x first. If you did it the other way, that's fine. Just write it underneath, switch it around. And then it's a positive 16, so plus 16. Does that look like y equals mx plus b? Not quite yet. What do I need to do next? I need to undo that 2. 2 and y are touching. That means multiply. And to undo multiply, we divide. So we're going to divide everything by 2. All right, what's negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2x plus 16 divided by 2? 8. So that's what's going to be on your test. If you're like, where from this is going to be on the test, it's going to be, this is most of what is going to be on the test from this lesson. It's going from standard form to slope-intercept form. Going from one to the other, which really you're just solving for y, which we've already done. All right, so what is my m? What is my slope? Negative 2 is my slope. And what does 8 represent? B, which is the y-intercept. All right, from there we can now go to pretty much anywhere else. Point and slope form might be hard because we still need a point. Could I do my table, slope, or graph next? What might be the next easiest? Probably table, but slope would be pretty easy too. We already know our slope. What is the slope? What's m? -2. Might as well just throw that up there. We said that right there. M is -2. We got that in our equation, so m is -2. Didn't have to find it, just wrote it, identified it. All right, next up, let's do our table. So for step number 5, we're going to do our table, which is x and then y. And for our table, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that slope-intercept form, -2x plus 8, and I'm going to write it as -2 parentheses plus 8 will equal the y. So we're going to pick some numbers for x, preferably some numbers that are easy to graph, because we do need to do that graphing at some point. We can start with 0, though, because that one should give us our y-intercept. If I do -2 times 0 plus 8, what's -2 times 0? 0. 0 plus 8? 8. That's my y-intercept. We can't plot that on the graph, though, so not super helpful. So we need some x's that will be on the graph that will be easier to work with. Good, let's do 1. I'm going to use my calculator at this point just to make sure I don't make any goofs. So I'm going to do -2 parentheses plus 8. And in this one, I'm going to put in the parentheses, what are we putting into the equation? We're putting in 1, and what do we get out? 6. So if I buy 1 pop, I can buy 6 bags of chips. What other number do we want to put in for x? 2? Okay, I buy 2 pops. That means I can buy 4 chips. 2, 4. We could keep going. I'm a big fan of just 3 points on our linear graphs here. All right, do we want to go to graphing or point slope form? Sure, let's go to the graph. If you want to do an arrow, you kind of have to skip over that. Arrows at this point feel a little maybe crazy. All right, this is number 6, graphing. And on our graph, we're just plotting these points. So 0, 8. You could try and imagine where that would be if we wanted to. It's a little far off. 1, 6. So 1, 6 would be right 1, up 6. Two, 4, right 2, up 4. Once I have some points, I can use my slope to keep going. What is our slope? -2 over 1. So I could go down 2 and to the right 1 if I wanted to keep going. If I just have 2 points, can I just draw a line through 2 points? Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. But we could keep going if you want to. So down 2, so down 1, 2 jumps, and to the right 1. Down 2, to the right 1. And we can just keep repeating that until we're out of space. All right, and then if you have that ruler, you can grab the ruler. My ruler I don't have right now. I don't know where it is, so I'm going to just use the side of this card that I have. I didn't. I just put a little dot there, imagining where it is. But if you wanted to, you could. But it might be a little off since you had to guess. All right, something I noticed on the practice from last week, B4, 5, and 6, is some of us did the points, but we didn't do the lines. Remember, you do need to draw the line. If it looks messy, just change colors. That way I can see, like, oh, the points are red and the line is yellow. The line's not perfectly straight, but I can still see where your points are. Okay? All right, in this situation, in the word problem, if we think back to the problem, does this point make sense? 5, -2? Can I buy 5 pops and -2 chips? No. So if we were thinking just we're in the word problem in real world, only this positive part would make sense, the first quadrant. Mathematically, it would keep going into that negative part. All right, last step, number 7, point slope form. You could, but most gas stations. I'm thinking I'm at a gas station. They wouldn't want to buy my chips. Unless I was returning chips. Maybe, if I didn't open them yet. And I bought them there earlier. Kept my receipt. All right, here I need a point. And I need a slope. What is our slope? -2. We knew that one already. For our point, what? Just -2. We don't have to do the over one. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, just -2. All right, for the point, we can go back to our table or to our graph and grab any point that we want. I'm just going to go to my table since we have points listed there. Do you want to use 1, 6 or 2, 4?
2, 4.
Okay, 2, 4. I'm going to mark that yellow so that I know that's where I'm getting it from. I also, just for fun, I don't know, fun's not the right word, 2, 4, I'm going to highlight it on my graph to show that this is the same point here. All these things are connected. So if you want to, you can. 2, 4. Okay, if it helps, write out that point slope form here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to start with y. What's my y from the ordered pair? 4. Since it's a positive 4, do I want to keep it -4 or change it to +4? I keep it at -4. Remember, it's kind of opposite of what we're used to. Equals -2 or m, parenthesis x, and then what's our x from the ordered pair? 2, so do we want to write it as -2 or +2? Remember, we like the minus, so we're going to keep it -2. If it ended up being -, then we would change it to a plus, but it's just -2. All right, that is it for your notes. So you're going to, if you didn't glue it in yet, I know most of you didn't, some of you did. To glue it in, you are